Today I'm going to show you how to make a wall-mounted gun concealment flag. This can hold an AR-15 or other smaller weapons. So let's get started. Head to your local hardware store and we need to get some wood. We're going to start cutting with my bench saw, and these are the measurements that you need for all your wood pieces. Just pause the video right here so you can get a good look at these numbers and supplies, because this is all we're going to use. So cut your 1x2s into 13 pieces. You need 7 pieces at 22 1/4 and 6 pieces at 37 inches. Now we need to cut the union, or as some people call it, the canton. You need 14 3/4 by 9 3/4. Next, we're going to be using a 1" by 12" piece of wood. This one is 6 feet long, but we only need a small portion of it. Make sure you mark all the areas you need to cut, use your ruler or level, and make your straight lines. So remember to double check your measurement just to make sure you're cutting the right amount, and it needs to be at 9 3/4. Once we've marked it down, let's get to cutting. Just remember to use eye protection. Safety first, everyone. So now it's time to burn the wood. I'm using a blowtorch that I got from Lowe's, but they sell them cheaper at other retailers, so make sure you look around to get the best price. So we just want to lightly burn the wood. We don't want to catch it on fire or anything like that. So just do several passes over the wood till you get the right burn look that you're going for. I like to burn the sides and ends of the wood. You don't have to, but it just gives it that nice little detail to it. As we get ready to stain this, ensure that you're staining the right pieces. Remember, the American flag has 7 red stripes and 6 white stripes. I'm using a semi-transparent stain in the color navy, and this is going to be for the Union field. I had an old rag laying around in the garage and used that to put the stain on the wood. Make sure to get the edges and the corners. Just give it one nice coat. You don't have to stain the back of it because all of this is going to be spray painted black. Keeping with the semi-transparent stain, we're going to be using a barn red stain on 7 pieces of 1x2. All 50 stars with a white charcoal pencil. Makes it super easy when we're starting to outline it with our Dremel tool. Now, I used both 105 and 106 throughout the process. Just find whichever works best for you. I ended up using 106 for most of it, but you might find it better with the 105. So you want to outline the star carefully. You don't want to get outside of the lines or anything like that. Outline it, and once you're done, you can move to a bigger tip so that you can carve out the inside. This is what your flag should look like after everything's been painted and carved. Make sure though that the union is not upside down, just like this. This is a no-go. You need to have the pointy part of the star at the top, just like this. So once we turn it around, this is what it'll look like, and this is how we're going to work on it. So before we can start gluing and nailing things, we need to clamp down the flag. I'm using these extra long steel bar clamps that I found on Amazon, but any hardware store will have them. You need to attach it to the flag like this so that we can hold it in place. So this part is really important because we need to put 4 support pieces on the back of the flag. I'm using a 1x3 wood, but you can also use a 1x4. But we need to measure it in a way so that when we put the box or the cabinet on top of the flag, there's enough room for it to fit snugly. I'll show you more as the video goes on. So I'm going to be using 1x3 wood, and I'm going to be cutting it at 16.5 inches. We're going to cut 4 pieces at that length. Now I'm going to be using 1.25 inch brad nails. These are very important because anything bigger and you'll pierce through the flag. I made the mistake, don't make that mistake. So I'm readjusting the clamps because they actually should be on either side of the wood pieces that you're applying. This way it's nice and taut and it's ready to go. You're going to want to cut yourself a guide piece just like this. This one's 1x4, and I'm using this so I can measure the top and the bottom of the back support because we don't want to go too low or we don't want to go too high, because then the box or the cabinet that we're going to build that's going to go on top of the flag won't fit. So these pieces are simply as a guide. You're not nailing them, you're not gluing them, you're simply using it to guide so that you know, okay, this wood piece is ready to go, I can glue it and I can nail it. Use a little bit of wood glue on the back of the wood piece. That'll just give it some extra support once it dries. Place your wood piece on top. Again, use your guide, and then begin nailing with your brad nailer. Once we're done with the first one, let's move on to the next one. Remember, use your glue, use your guide wood piece, and then move the steel bar clamp so that you have more support. Then use your brad nailer and put 2 nails, 3 nails per wood. I just put a lot of it just to make sure it was extra secure. The next step is going to be creating the box, or what we like to call the cabinet. We need to use 1 inch by 4 inch wood. We need to cut 2 pieces of wood at 37 inches each and 2 other pieces of wood at 16.5 inches. Make sure to nail this box together on top of the flag so you know that it fits perfectly. I used a 90-degree corner clamp for this box. It made the process super simple, super easy, made everything square, and then I used 1.25 inch brad nails to finish it off. Next, we're going to mark out our handle, which I like to call a hidden handle, because the user can't see that there's a handle or indentation there. This will help us so much when it's time to open the box. So measure the center of the box, mark it right there, and we're going to make a half moon figure. You don't actually have to do this step, but I wanted to be able to open the flag without any handle or anything visible, so that's why I'm doing the half moon shape. This is exactly what it should look like. It'll be underneath it, so when you run your hand on the bottom, you'll be able to open it so easily. In this clip, you can see right there is where we carved it. You can hardly tell it's there. Once it's sanded and painted, it'll be invisible. I'm using my jigsaw to cut this angle. Be very careful, hold the wood steady, and then cut as deep or wide as you want to go. I'm using an 80 grit sandpaper to smooth out all the rough edges and the splinters, and then this is ready to get spray painted. Now it's time for the backboard. I'm using a 2 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood that is 1/2 inch thick. They sell them at this size at your local hardware store. Next, I'm going to put the box on top of the plywood. We're going to do this so we can trace it. Make sure the edges are squared and then trace the other 2 sides. Remember, we're tracing the outside and not the inside. The plywood is going to go over the box. Once you're done tracing it, use your handy dandy saw and cut the pieces that you need so that you have the perfect rectangle. Once you're done cutting the backboard, it's time to spray paint it. I'm using a glacial gray color in matte finish. You can paint it any color you want, but you only have to paint the inside. The outside of it, the back of it, will be against the wall and nobody can see that. When you're done with that, we can spray paint our box or cabinet. I'm using a matte black, spraying it all over, and then I'm attaching the backboard to the actual box using a 1 1/4 inch brad nail. Now it's time to install the piano hinge. I spray painted mine matte black, but you don't have to do that. It comes in stainless steel silver. Next, we're going to use some shims. Lift it up at least 1/8 of an inch. This will allow for swing clearance once you open the flag door. Make sure to measure and mark where the middle is so that the hinge is centered. Then, you're going to attach the hinge to the top of the flag and the top of the cabinet box. Normally, I would have pre-drilled holes before screwing these screws inside, but they were so small, so I just went without pre-drilling. Make sure to spray paint the inside of your flag black. This should have been done before, but I forgot, so I'm doing it now. Now we're going to install the gas struts that I got on Amazon. These are lightweight, they're soft open, they're really awesome, and they're pretty easy to install. Before you install, make sure that the door is upright or in the position that you want it to be when it's opened. Otherwise, it's going to be very wonky and it's not going to close right. So for these struts, I'm measuring 2.5 inches from the bottom of the flag upward, and that is where the bottom of the strut will begin. If your flag is smaller or bigger, you might want to follow the directions that come with these struts. They're super helpful, but for this flag, that's how I did it. Next, I'm going to measure 9 inches down from the top and 1/5 of an inch from the side inward. It'll be in this location right here, and that's where the end of the strut will go. So I had to tweak the measurements just a little bit in order to get the strut right, but if you follow the instructions that this comes with, it'll be a breeze. A bigger box or a smaller box might have different measurements, so just go by the instructions that come with these struts and you're good to go. For the second strut, you're going to mirror the same measurements you did on the other side. Nothing different. Just use the same measurements, install your strut, put the 3 screws in on each strut end, and you're good to go. Now I'm going to install a wall mount gun rack. So I'm going to measure the inside of the box so I can make sure that wherever this mount goes, the gun or AR-15 will fit perfectly wherever I want to place it. I made 2 holes for wall anchors, but I would advise putting 4 just so it's nice and secure. And here's the final product. I hope you enjoyed.